These are some intrepid fellows. It is a gutsy trip over.
Did you go there personally?
No. So I have. In fact, let me give them a shout out. Josh Sigurdsson and David Stig Hansen went there individually. These are some intrepid fellows. It is a gutsy trip.
Well, we were going to try to go over there to get to the hinge, but this is too Mars-like. That way, that way. And so we're going across these rocks, and they are pretty strong. Oh, yeah, I see. You're right. The road is here. We looked like it would be a good place to pass, but unfortunately, we decided. And I'm actually surprised he was so willing to come this far, but we decided to go back, and it wasn't just him; it was me as well. So that's the center of the richat right over there. It's kind of amazing how symmetrical those mountains are. It's kind of amazing how symmetrical those mountains are. It's kind of... It was over there somewhere, right? Oh, here it is, right there. Is that the sound? Okay, there's the sound. I'm sorry about that. So I've been talking this whole time and there's no sound. Sorry about that. I don't know how that got turned down. I didn't turn it down. I just want to cry right now, you know? When stuff like that happens. Hey, Lawless World, do you hear me? Give me a 1 if you can hear me. I can't believe that happened. I was talking and no sound. Lawless World, Ziggy, if you're still here. Okay, great. Can't believe that. I started the whole video. How far into it am I? Literally 12 minutes into the video, and I didn't have any sound the whole time. So thank you, Ziggy. And I guess Ziggy might... Oh, you're here now. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say. You know, I showed the maps, but nobody saw anything. This is Shiprock. Let me start from the beginning a little bit. If I can get into the Google Earth. Okay, what I was saying is the video that I showed you started here, and there was some dikage. Dikage is a word that I invented. Lawless World, I don't know if you're... I know what you do. You are a First Amendment auditor, and you hang out with some of the best, and I really respect the work that you guys are doing, especially with some of the things that just happened to me in my personal life. I didn't get arrested or pulled over, but let's just say there's a lot of stuff going on in my life that luckily I learned from the video auditors. Okay, so what we're looking at here, Lawless, is Shiprock, and it is taller than Devil's Tower. Okay, this thing is taller than Devil's Tower. It's located in northwest New Mexico, almost near Four Corners. It's not very hard to find, but I consider these types of dikes as an unnatural formation. A lot of people say that they're volcanic dikes, but let's take a look. I'm not going to mess around because I think Ziggy, still being here, deserves to get straight into the meat. First of all, I was looking at this road, and I'm like, was that a road they created? Well, take a look. You've got this type of stuff on one side and another type of stuff on the other side. So I don't think that was created by people. I think that's part of the ancient structure. But let's take a look at the whole thing real quick. You've got a volcanic core in the middle and 3 main volcanic dikes coming away. Now, how are they created? Since I was muted before, I'll tell you again. They're supposed to be magma rising up and filling cracks. And then later when the dike is exposed, you either have an erosion that allows the dike to be above the ground like this. I'm not thinking it adds up. I think, yes, you're going to say, this guy's crazy. Lawless, But I'd have to tell you straight up, I do believe that there were some ancient megalithic terraformers who were doing ancient mining all over the earth. Take a look at some of my other videos. You'll see what I can show in South Africa. And I went to Africa, to the Eye of Africa. Now, there aren't a lot of dikes exactly right there, but there's a lot of ancient quarries. What do they do with all that content? They dump it somewhere. Well, this is gigantic. Who made Devil's Tower? How was that created? Do you think it's a volcanic core? Hexagonal post coming straight out of the ground? It doesn't add up, and I can get more into it. But at first, I just want to show this situation here. So let's go north. And again, you look at it and you don't see any of the... you're like, that's natural? I don't think so. But what you can look is these dikes. When you talk about how they were created, and Lawless, I'm going to tell you because you're my special guest. Ziggy Dan is very important to me because he's the nub master. And if you know about the nubs on the stones of Peru, then you'll know that it's something that it's a great mystery that he's showcasing most. I think he's the master, the nub master. So check out all the nubs that he can present. I think nubs are mainly a maker's mark, but there's more than that. They're also an artist's, well, that is a maker's mark, is an artist's signature, but they do have some uses. Now that's the part we got to narrow down. A lot of modern day nubs seem to be along the bottom of blocks. When I say modern day, still 2,000 or 3,000 years old. But then the ancient ones, and by the way, I don't think Peru is only 1,000, 2,000 years old, but yeah, check out Ziggy Dan's work. He's right there. Let's get back to this. I don't know how many viewers. I got 4 thumbs up, 4 watching. But when you look at this thing, you see these dikes. Now, the thing I question about dikes is if they're truly volcanic magma that comes up, how does the earth get on both sides of it? And I can show you some pictures I took of some smaller ones where it's very clear you've got a center core and then the hills on both sides. They're a different material entirely. So are we supposed to say that's something left over from the bedrock? Or is that something that's... and by the way, I did have some better photos. We're using Google Earth right now, but I mean, I did take some good shots. So do a quick look at some more of my shots now that I kind of caught up with the sound problem. I was talking about the postcard images you could see here, and I really love those shots. I think that one has a dust storm, and there's a dust devil in front of it. So I took about 1,000 shots that day of shiprock. And the question of what that is, I mean, how a volcanic, like we're saying, oh, it was a volcano, but then it plugged up, right, and stopped. So there's the core that's plugged up the hole, and then the rest of the volcano disappeared. Well, in my opinion, that's not how geology works. Where's the content? Where did it disappear to? Did it blow away? Did it turn into dust and blow away? So to me, there's more to question. You always see this residual dirt. Now, to me, it looks like it was packed up against it. I think the mainstreamers say, oh, the material, it was covered and then it eroded away and the harder material remained. And then you've got these, why are they all like that? Why didn't they? It just doesn't add up in my head. So let's take a look at the layout real quick and then I'll get through that part. Tufo or tofu? Yeah, it's larger than Devil's Tower, and nobody knows about it because we don't want people asking questions. See, just like the government, and I'm looking at Lawless World because look at the name, Lawless. Just like the police have ultimate power, right, with the Terry versus Ohio, the ability to put hands on without any explanation. They also want to hide older secrets as well. Because it doesn't really help if people know about ancient history. They want people to get addicted to their pharmaceuticals and watch TV all night, right? So I want to look at this one right here. So there's one volcanic dike. I stood right here. I drove my car. I was showing you the video. I drove my car from here. I followed this road in. Pretty sure that's the road. And then I turned left and I went over here. And there's a little road, and I parked here for a second. I have those videos. And then I started driving this way, but it got pretty rough. And I saw a dike, a little dike right about here that I grabbed some shots of. Where is that? See, I can't even see it. And I said it got pretty rough, and then I saw some other cars, and I Maybe that's it right there. Yeah, I think that's it. I drove about here, and I got some of this dike. And totally different material. That's the thing. The cores of the dikes are all different, and I can show you the scissoring dikes of Colorado. You don't want to search that on your Google. You'll get. You don't want to put that on YouTube. The spelling is D-I-K-E-S. Don't use a Y, or it's definitely a bad word. Although D-I-K-E-S and D-Y-K-E-S are actually the same thing in geology as well. So we're looking at this one right here. Now, one of the things that I'd like to say is, well, if it's a volcanic dike, how come it is offset like that and like that and like that? I believe ancient giants laid these lines down, creating some type of wall with overburden dumping. I want to show you the ones in Colorado that I think drive that point home. But right now, I want to take a look. So I drove right through there. There I was. And I can show you the videos. But what I want you to see is there's a mound here and a mound here. And then there's this, right in the middle of it, you've got this long dike. But look, also got these small little dikes here and on this side as well. So what is up with these little two parallel dikes? And why are they like that? Was this pre-Atlantis? Were ancient beings, maybe not humans, maybe not even earthlings, but if you watch Ancient Aliens, which is on its last season, I was never a big fan. I don't want to believe that Ancient Aliens modified our DNA. I really don't like to believe stuff like that. But I'm all about evidence. And when you look at this, and you look at these dikes, and how they are in a way symmetrical, especially over here. Look at the way it goes right up and over the whole mound right there. So are you telling me that this thing was a volcano that had a covering around it that eroded away and left the core, but these dikes were also part of what was left, even though you can see it was placed on top of the earth? That's another thing. When you look at these dikes, you look at the way that the dirt is a different color. Thank you for sharing that. Let me back out, and I want to show you some other dikes, and then we'll get back into Shiprock a little more and my visit. But if you look at what's going on in Colorado. Now I'm gonna put. Oh, let me use this other one because I wanted there to be labels. And look at the pictures that are here. So this is a shot of Shiprock by somebody else, Nicholas Lyle, 2021. I thought that was pretty awesome. So I figured I'd show you these. So here you see the core in the middle that creates these walls. Check out the Devil's Stair Steps in Colorado. Very similar walls. But on each side, you've got this different material holding it up. Maybe you're saying that this was the old floodplain, basically. It's all just not adding up to me. Let's look at all these pictures real quick. There's probably a bunch of them. And I think the important thing is to quickly look at them so I can show you the next thing. Yeah, the way that these walls decay is quite interesting as well. And you see that with a lot of them, but not all of them. And I'll tell you one more thing. It's not the same material. There's different walls made of different materials. So if you've got magma, the geologists say, well, it depends on what temperatures the magma cooled down at. And that relegated what it would end up. So here we see kind of I mean, can we zoom in? I cannot zoom in. We see, and I don't have any samples. I usually don't collect samples from places like this. If I do, I don't talk about it. But the Shiprock walls, the dikes, here, these colors are kind of like a terracotta, solid. Now, when you get over closer to Shiprock and look at the material, and I do have pictures of that. I'm going to show you since it's ready to go. If you get up to Shiprock and you start taking pictures of the material, you do see that it is like a bit of a composite. Let me just find the shots I'm talking about. They're kind of not close. Is that it right there? This is some of it. Let's look at this. Of course, I can't get it to come up here. Now, I know that looks like one color, but when you zoom in, you can see it's a composite. This is maybe the main structure. I'm up against the main structure here, but the dikes themselves don't have this composite. So again, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's get at it. Let me go back here. So this is the main core. That's the one that has this composite that I'm talking about right here. You can get in, you can look at it, you can see all those different materials in there. So is that the way lava rock dries? I mean, if it's lava, if it's magma, I mean, everything came from the center of the earth, right? And it's magma, or was it? That's the big question, and we have to think about that. However, what I'm here today to say is that composite doesn't really match this material here. So where was I? I want to get back over to my images. Let's take another look at another picture I took of that stuff. Where is it? Here? What's this? Oh, that is, okay. So I told you that I went and I went up. Ugh, let me try that again. So that is the material along the dike that I went to over here. I'll show you on the map. So when I drove up here and then I cut over and went across and ended up about here. So I got that image from right about here. I walked right over here and I took this picture of the spine of that dike that was sticking up. That's the spine, okay? That's it right there. So I got some close-up images of that, and that is not a composite. That's like one solid structure. So it all depends on how the magma cooled down, didn't it? But it did it. Thank you, Lawless. Hey, and by the way, hope you can take a look at some of my old videos, the thumbnails. I went to the Eye of Africa. I showed canals. I walked down some of them. I'm really happy to see you here today because it means that YouTube's notifications are working, and I thank you for joining. So these dikes are, I'm going to go back up and I'm going to zoom out of here. I want to get out of here. We don't need to look at all those pictures. You can go in. What you do is you show in the map everything, and it shows the pin, and then you click on it, and then you get this, and you click on it and get all the pictures people have donated. But instead of doing that, because I left the labels on this, the other one up here, I turned the labels off. I think they're distracting. But what I want to show you right now is, first of all, let's go down to that. We are in New Mexico right there. But if I zoom down past the 40, past Gallup, go down to the 60, which I believe is right here. That's the 53. Let's go down a little farther. There it is, the 60. You find Pi Town. So if you're driving, be careful. Kamado has gas. I almost ran out. So, okay, so when you zoom into Pi Town, you can see this long dike. It's about 12 miles long. Okay? And that goes into the mountains, into this hilltop. And it actually has a switchback, a little cutback here, which I've found in other places, and in Africa, places I haven't been before. But you can see the dikes from Google Earth, and you can see that little switchback there. That's a dike as well. So it's coming from here, this riverbed, or is it actually crossing the riverbed to control the water? Now, if you know me, you'll know that I already believe a lot of these were for water control. I'm going to show you one that controls our continental divide, and that's big stuff. Let me angle this a little differently. Pi Town is kind of being at a 45-degree angle, which is an ancient alignment. If I turn it this way, turn it straight up like that. Now this matches ancient alignments I found. Take a look at the compass down there. It shows that northeast angle, 45 degrees. And it's not perfect, but that actually coincides with some other ones. I don't want to go into too many directions here, so I'm going to focus on this dike being straight up and down. It's about 12 miles long. Now go over here, and there's this other dike right up here. Now you see switchbacks again over here maybe, but I'm focusing on this. Driving here was very difficult. I see this road now. I'm pretty sure I drove right across there. Wait, is that it? Yeah, I drove right here. I met some hikers that were hiking the Continental Divide. You can't even see it when you get there, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's see if we have the little man. We don't have any Google Earth imaging of this. Too bad. But I believe I was right there, and I drove up here. I don't believe Adrian Electronics Corp is still located there. I'm pretty sure that's the road. Maybe it was this one over here, but I doubt it. It took me a long time to get over there. So that's a lot shorter than this one over here. That one over here in Pi Town that I did climb and I got a video of, that's about 100 foot high. I was out of shape. I still am out of shape. When I got to the top of that, I could barely breathe. I almost thought I was going to die. So that's how out of shape. Now, I drove through here, and I stopped right here and took some pictures, but I had to go down this dirt road and find a spot here to park my car. And there's a crossover here, that W Bar Road. I didn't go across that. You know what? I was actually more interested in getting over to the other one. I had already climbed up here. And the other one, which is parallel. Let's take a look at these. These are parallel, right? They're not perfectly straight. So volcanic dikes sometimes they're straight, sometimes they're curved. I guess it depends on the volcano. You know, you got your LGBTQ community of volcanoes. The scissoring dikes of Colorado are the ones that I'm going to show you now. Let's get north-south so I can find them. Back out. Look at the border between New Mexico and above Colorado. And what you see here is those two little dots along the 25. Also, there is a star fort right over here. You think it's 22.3 degrees? Okay. Well, I know that north and east are 90 degrees, and I think it's a halfway point. That one just then wasn't perfect, so I'm not going to disagree with you. The ones that I said control the continental divide are up here, north of Denver, and I will show you that, but I want to go back to Shiprock, and then I want to end this video. So I'm going to show, since Lawless, you were thinking about scissoring dikes, this is Spanish Peaks in Colorado. So the 25 where the Rocky Mountains start, which is right about here, this is where the Rocky Mountains start. You zoom in down here near Trinidad and you see the Spanish Peaks. And over here near Cuchara, which has two meanings in Spanish. One, okay, I lived in Guatemala, so of course it means spoon, but in Guatemala it also means a lady's genitalia. Sorry that I had to tell everybody that. You can see the dikes here, and you can see the dikes here. The dikes are these straight lines coming down. Now, when you get down here, there's so many of them, you're like, okay, that's got to be natural, right? But slow down. Let's talk about it. First, let's get the little man over here and look. I want to show you the scissoring dikes in a second, but first I want to show you what started me to go to Colorado was this. And this is, I probably chose a bad area. There's a billboard here that talks about them. But unfortunately, this is probably not the best place to start. So go down the road a little bit farther, and you'll get a better shot of them. Let's go down here to about here, and bring the little man and take a look at that, because I just want to show you the similarities between Shiprock, and there it is. Okay, it's called the Devil's Stair Steps. Now, if you think about how a mountain is formed, if you're going to have a volcanic dike magma fill the cracks, then you're gonna okay, I just lost my train of thought. Let's get out of here. Let me show you a bunch of other ones around here. The reason why I feel like they're still unnatural when I see something like this is that, I mean, I have to be honest. When you see that right there, you think, okay, there's no way a giant would do all that work. So I want to say that when you say, oh, they're walls and they're directing water, well, when you see that, that's chaos. So how is that directing water? Maybe it has something to do with some major mining. We did have a small river over here, so placer mining. I do believe that placer mining took place along the Colorado. That's a different video, but now here's going to be the kicker. Up here, we have what I call a scissoring dike. Now, there's two large ones here and here. This is where I really believe you can't explain it away geologically. And I've talked about this before, so some people, take a look at how this dike, and they do have a spine at the top. They do have a spine, but this is a mountain. And let me just say, they're about tenth of a mile wide from the base of the dirt on one side to the base of the dirt on the other side. Go back to Shiprock, and from this point here to the other side to where the slope meets the floodplain, it's about a tenth of a mile wide. Not always. Sometimes I've seen them 3/10 of a mile wide, and sometimes I see super small ones that I can walk across in a few feet, like the one that I just mentioned in Pie Town. Not the one in Pie Town. That's quite large. That's a tenth of a mile wide. But the other one that's parallel to the one in Pie Town seems like that's it's not a tenth of a mile wide. Now take a look at this. These dikes, they're magma filling cracks. Now, how is it that it had a relationship with this dike? Is it because the first dike filled up and cooled down, and then the second dike came along, or did one dike form over the other and go through? You can see how this dike kind of stops right here. Is it going through? Well, not really, because this dike on the other side, which appears to be the same dike, it's pretty straight, right? But it's actually curving up. Let's turn around. It's actually curving up and going up to the top of this other dike and stopping. Now, it's actually creating a junction. So when you see how this dike just... I went here, but I didn't get up there because it's private property. So what I did was, let's go north-south real quick so I can figure out where I am. I entered probably here at the 310, not the 85, the 25, yeah. So I probably entered right here, and if it wasn't there, it was here, and I drove in. It was kind of confusing. I really had to figure out how to get to this point. And I know you're driving up the freeway and get off, right? Wasn't so easy because this is really destitute, and the exits weren't well marked. And these roads are also not well marked. 310, drove that in here. I met up with, I guess, 317 and drove over the dike, didn't even realize it. And then got over here and stopped, and I looked at this dike, and here's another thing we have to think is, how does this dike stop over here but restart over there? It's PIE, Jordan. PIE, Pie Town. And by the way, I had a pie. Somewhere around here I had the card. It's in the car. The Pie Town, I bought a pie there. You know, most of the people driving through there have no idea about these dikes. So how is it that a volcanic dike will stop right there at the floodplain and then hook over here and then restart? So, well, if you see how heavy I am right now, you'll know I'm also a big pie fan. But I have to be honest, that's going to be changing. Oh, look, another switchback. That looks like a switchback. Look how these are parallel. Parallel dikes. And there's all sorts of parallel lines in here. But one last thing I want to say about this one is, if you notice here, this one comes up and meets it from the northeast. Okay, there we go. Now, these are just approximated directions. I'm not going to get into it. And yes, these angles are questionable. What is the degrees of those angles? So this one that comes up and meets it is coming from the northeast, and this one that doesn't come up and meet it and disappears into it is coming from the southwest. However, back out, go over to this one, and what do you see? You see the opposite. This one comes from the southeast, and it rises up and makes a junction with the top of this one. And the other side, you don't see that. And you see that again and again and again. Lawless world. Did you realize that before Atlantis, there was somebody on this planet who was controlling water, mining for and quarrying, and don't get me started. I want to go back to Ship Rock, but don't get me started. The quarrying was happening. You say, what's the Eye of Africa? This is for Lawless because everybody else in the room probably already knows. I went here twice. This place has a quarry in the middle of it. Right over here, there's quarries right there. There's quarries here. But worse than that, there's even bigger quarries over here. You can zoom right in and see what I call the Giant's Quarry. Yeah, the Giant's Quarry is right here. And I tried to go there, but my ride failed me. I couldn't get there. It was too late, and I was just ready to give up. And I did give up because you had to go on camel, and it was still a little too hot. I didn't want to do overnight camping, and so I didn't attempt to go here anymore. But these quarries, this shaped rock, you can go back to Utah and find the same thing going on. And this is where I realized this stuff isn't just in one place. It's going on all over the world. Let me turn on the map and I'll show you the Utah, what's called Canyonlands. And then I'll go back to Ship Rock and then I'll end this video. But if you go to Utah and you zoom in over here, you see Moab, which is right there. And Moab is, the Colorado River goes right through Moab. And then down here where there's a convergence of Moab and this other, I think it's called Green River, right here a lot of stuff was going on. I believe the Colorado River was a major location for placer mining, which means you use the water to sort and to jostle, and you know what a gold pan does. You can use the water to do the same thing. Check out some of these videos on gold mining. This type of work, I believe, is ancient quarrying. Now, it's not straight like the stuff that I can show you in Africa. The stuff I can show you in Africa is very straight. Canaanite quarry that looks similar. Thank you, Ziggy. I'd love to take a look at that. Oh, yeah, and one more thing about this one that's in the richat structure is you can see over here these lines. Take a look at this and tell me that that's natural. When you zoom in here, you can see these parallel lines already. But zooming in, you can see, I used to think this was natural. I said, oh, that's, when I looked at the way this plateau was formed with these side things, oh, that's so beautiful how that nature did that. But now, and by the way, the quarries are at the edges. So there was some kind of a cut that they did before they quarried. And another thing, because I saw on Twitter somebody was saying that you get sandstone at the top. There's no gold in the Colorado, he's saying. It's just sandstone. No, you have several layers, and those layers, this is lower than the top. So whoever's doing the quarrying was focused on what was underneath the top layer. And I believe that you can see the same thing right in the Colorado River, right in the Grand Canyon. Look at these lines here. That's from quarrying. That's from people walking through there and removing stuff. Were they giants? Maybe not. Maybe it's more modern day. When I say modern day, I mean within the last 2,000 years from the time of Jesus. But this right here, I do believe it's much older. It's got to be, right? We're over here in Mauritania. So this quarrying field is one of many that I've discovered in this area. Ziggy, I know you've watched my stuff, but maybe you haven't exactly seen this area over here. You zoom in here, and you can see different stuff going on here. This one was the first one I ever found, and the same thing was happening. They were quarrying. You can see the geometric lines. You can see 3, 1, 2, and up, down 3 different directions of quarrying cuts that were on a grand scale. And these lines go through. Now, that was the first one, but when you get over to, there's a bunch of other ones. Now look at these walls here. You've got another junction that happened here. How does that happen in nature? It just doesn't seem to do that. So I'm going to go back and clip out that part where my microphone didn't work, because I'm happy with this video right now, so I don't want to go redo it. You can see here, sorry, I should mute the microphone if I'm going to do that. I got a little lost. You can see right here, this area is very interesting to me, because you also have these quarry lines, and they're so clear. Look at these, and the fact that they have 3 directions, creating little triangles, or maybe these are kind of going in one direction, 2 directions. No, that's a triangle. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 different directions. You don't cut a cake in 3 directions. You cut a cake in 2 directions. So that's the quarry lines there. And of course, I'm going to show you one more. And I'm hoping that Lawless is still here, because he's got a lot of subscribers, and he's in a group of people that have a lot of subscribers, but it's a different topic. Okay, so before I get, that's Algeria right there, and another place in Algeria over here, we've got some crazy ass quarrying going on. Nobody says there was ancient quarrying. They just, oh no, that was erosion that did that. That's what you get from the trolls, is erosion. That's erosion. This area right here in Algeria is called the Tassili Niger National Park. And when you zoom into it, I know a couple of areas. This area here. Now, you have the city of Janet, DJ Janet, like Django, right? But when you zoom into this is like the province of Janet. You get here, and you can see these ancient quarrying lines. This place is ginormous. And if you measure from this corner to this corner and this corner to this corner, you have exact numbers. They're not exactly. Come on, we're in Google Earth. I don't know where to start, but I would say this line, where this line meets this line is a good place to start. So right there, and just measure that rectangle. Oh, there you are. Thanks for sticking around. I know you're a busy guy. You know SGV. I think that's awesome. I saw you in that one video with SGV and the dudes. Well, you had to pepper somebody. Okay, so these blocks are created by quarrying. Don't tell me they're... Because when you see the pictures of Tassil-Niger, they're like, oh, years and years of erosion. Okay, so which is older, this river crevice that was created by water or the rectangles of quarrying? Well, I kind of am not sure anymore. There's a few things in here that I'd love to show you, but I don't want to stick around here. I want to get out. There's always the Matrix land called Planetary Valley, where you see these, what I think they are is overburden dumping from this Tassil-Niger. But when you get in there and you see the straight lines, Planetary Valley's right there. You can get in there and see these rocks. Forgot the name, Ziggy. What do they call these things? I forgot the word. And the fact that it looks basically like somebody was welding on a giant basis and lots of sparks were flying. And you know when you weld and those sparks fly, that is magma flying through the air. So what up with these circles? Well, when you see how straight they are, and I welcome you to go to Planetary Valley and check it out for yourself. When you see how straight these lines start to be, it looks like giant overburden dumping on a megalithic scale. Because when you see a dump truck, it's only about 9 foot wide. Well, these are, the small ones are hundreds of feet wide. The large ones are like mountains. So yes, Lawless, thank you. No, it's, if you follow Wandering Wolf Productions, he went to a place, and that was when I kind of learned the word that described these circles, these big, huge, giant spheres. A welling spot? No, I haven't heard of that. Okay, let's go to the last place in Africa before I get back to Shiprock. And I want to talk about this. Look at that profile. Looks like an Englishman. I call him the Englishman, of that chin, that Roman nose, and the sad look in his face. No, I'm just joking. But if you zoom into his mouth, you quickly find, not there, but down here, but up here you see the same dikes. Okay, so that's the thing. You look on the Sahara, you can find these straight line dikes. But what you realize is that those dikes are either older or younger than a separate project which machined this whole area. This whole area has been machined. And which was happening first? These darker dikes? For some reason, instinctually, I feel they're older, but I could be wrong. See, these dikes were put in to control water. This whole area is suspect. But what I really wanted to show you was this set. Now, right over here, you can see that obviously it's not natural. Some type of change happened to the rock and created these straight lines, probably geopolymer. Okay, Bob Roberts, I'm not going to pay attention to your question. I'm not talking about coloration lines. I'm talking about the change. Like, let's assume these were canals. So what happened to the land on both sides of the canal? Was there a topsoil layer that had agriculture? Why would somebody do it in the middle of the Sahara? Well, we all know that the Sahara used to be green. So there's no worry about that. Look over here and look at these changes here. This is not natural. These marks are at the same angles all over. But now, the heart of it, right? The heart of it, the big line. And you do see some other lines here that look like they were cut. But with the big line, you see this big line? This is the Tibesti Mountains. When you see perpendicular lines coming from a river, they're suspect because rivers are not perpendicular. That was some ancient, I believe, agriculture project. Maybe it had to do with mining. This whole area has been changed. This is the top of the mountain, this ridge right here. So I do question it all the way up to here, and I question all of Sahara Desert. Now, to finish this video off, and I do thank you for joining me, and thank you for triggering me. Going back to Shiprock, I was going to kind of finish off by kind of going over one more time these dikes are ginormous, just like the Devil's Stair Steps in Colorado. Oh yeah, the last one in Colorado that I didn't show you today, it was over there by the the Spanish Peaks. I always say that. There they are. And here in the Spanish Peaks, you've got this road that goes through, and I'm trying to find it. It's over here, Apashepa Arch. You can actually drive through a dike. It's only a small bit that appeared, and sometimes I wonder, it seems to be connected to this, but sometimes I wonder if it was like faked, because I drove through it. I was lucky I went that way. You can see the man-made tunnel that goes through it and a few rocks that are placed here and here. But here, is that like concrete, or is that part of the dike? I believe they put a layer of concrete over it. And at the top, I climbed up here, and I took some pictures of the top, and I went over here and took some pictures, and what we saw was basically a different type of composite. I really want to zoom in and get those close-ups. Look at that. What's going on up there? So you can see the little forestry logo there at the top, and what I'm going to show you, I just want to see if I could find it here or not, is pictures of the close-up of the over here is what I'm going to show you. The pieces are all over, and I may have grabbed one on the road there, but unfortunately I don't remember where I put it, if I even grabbed one. I could be wrong. All right, so let's get into that picture, because I showed you the composite. Let me find it. It is, I think, right here. And I don't know. Oh, while we're doing that, I could show you pictures of me taking off an airplane I did. There's a video that I did called Ancient Structures That I Did Not Get to Visit, and this is one of them. It's 13.5 miles long. I'm just trying to find... There's actually a couple of... Oh, here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to close this all up because I'm all confused. This is the composite from Shiprock. But I wanted to show you... This is Canyonlands, and yeah, I do believe that a certain level of natural erosion did occur. And that's the trail there. Where's the one I just wanted to show you? I don't want to get into that. Check my older video. Oh, by the way, one of the other big things that I believe is a mystery is the Kalahari Canals. Plato wrote about a matrix of canals that was over 200,000 square kilometers, and I believe that could be it, even though it's quite south. Here's one of the the ancient dikes that I discovered in South Africa and Lesotho. I've never been there. I've only Google Earth there. That you could see was made to create places to hold water, places to sort gold out. I think we're done here. The place that I didn't show you yet was this place in Colorado that actually forms the Continental Divide. If you know what the Continental Divide is, the main one, because there's several of them in North America, but the one that we always think about is the one that goes straight down through Colorado down to the bottom of New Mexico. And what it is I know you see here that the Continental Divide seems to be going crooked, but everything on the west side of the Continental Divide drains into the Pacific Ocean. Everything on the east side drains into the Atlantic. Here's a picture of that shot here with the mountains. You see the dikes in Radial Mountain, and the Colorado River head is right up here. Radial Mountain has a dike. It kind of goes around up here, goes along the top of the mountain. So I call that a nub. And don't get offended, Ziggy, because when I say nubs, I'm talking about the nubs, the massive megalithic nubs that go along the side of dikes. They're not like the nubs that you showcase. But this dike goes in this direction, and then you've got Parkview Mountain, and that dike goes in that direction. And I might add, this one is quite large, and this one is quite small, just like in Pie Town. I'm not saying these are perfectly straight or perfectly parallel, but you have the idea. And there's another one down here that you can see when you drive past as well. And that one seems to be, we have to go into Google Earth to follow it. They don't go too far, but they look like they were controlling water. The Colorado River is nearby. It doesn't go through here. There's two major rivers that go through here. There's all sorts of rivers that start up here. They go all over the like not the Mississippi River, but there's a lot of rivers that start here that converge with the Mississippi. Okay, I'm almost done. I see my head bobbing back and forth. I don't really like to watch myself, but I think there's some stuff I didn't say, and that's okay. Shiprock, the videos of Shiprock, I guess I can get this. I wanted to show you the composite of that. I forgot. See, I don't even remember the name right now. Can't remember. Let's get that map back up, and then I'll show you. Where's the map? The map is here. The Apishapa Arch. I'm going to try to show you those things right. I have it ready almost. I just, unfortunately, I did not prepare this in advance. Okay, here we go. Slideshow 2023. That's where I want to go. Okay, so the big one, this is not the Apishapa Arch. This is the, here, I'll show you where this is. Okay, that's another big, huge dike that I found here. Not here. Let's get over here. The ones that are up here by the Colorado. So that is the Apishapa Arch. And take a look. You can see other dikage creating straight lines. But the question I have about that is, how is it that the... Let me find that right now so I don't lose you. It's right here. I took some close-up pictures of that, and it looks almost kind of like granite. I'm going to find a couple more. Let me just use this function. I did an interview about this. Let's see here. Where's the other ones? Okay, I guess that's it. The Apishapa Arch. Apishapa Arch, that's the picture I took. But when you get close in, this is the composite that you get. It doesn't really look like this composite here from Shiprock, does it? And how does Shiprock have a composite if it's strictly a volcanic core? Because a volcanic core is sitting there, it's magma, it's 100% the same stuff. So how can it melt and create these composites? Well, the Apishapa Arch also did the same thing. Let's go back. Since this is on screen, I always told you this is cement. That's natural limestone. You can see the grain, but this is all cement. And yeah, they've covered this up now. So they've covered up this parts with cement, and there are no fossils in this face. I'm just moving through here. That's the dike in Pai Town, the small one I told you about. Okay, I want to get rid of the film strip. I hate the film strip. And as you can see, this material here, it's kind of a terracotta color. It doesn't have a composite. I've got a close-up of that. It's more of a clay-looking stuff, terracotta-looking stuff. I was up on top of the big one in Diketown. Where's that? Oops, Pai Town. Sorry, not Diketown. And got on the top. So this is the spine of that big one, and the material. I'm looking for a close-up of that material. Is also those two dikes. Those, and I have a picture of it right here. These two dikes right here, these parallel dikes, Pai Town, and then this one over here. This is the short one. This is the tall one. But the material inside the core of each one are very similar. I got it right here. This is the big one. This is the big dike. And look at this material along the spine. And look at the way that it's actually like eroding, drying up, flaking off, turning into these flakes. This is on the top of that big dike. This is nothing like the Shiprock composite material. And the Shiprock dike that I showed you is a little bit similar to this, but it's nothing like the Apishapa Arch material or the material that I got over in Colorado. This is, again, terracotta material. This was on a road, so I did grab a little bit of that, and I can show you that material if you're a geologist and want to take a look at it. But the Apishapa Arch and the one up, let me show you how to get to the last one. I guess I'm not keeping my promise, but I guess it's no big deal, right? If you go up here and go to the head of the Colorado River, that's, where are we? That's Denver? Are we south of Denver or north of Denver? We're north. This is, oh, that is Denver. So we have to go up even higher. It's right in here. Look at that one right there. See, you see these lines and they look parallel, so they catch my eye all of a sudden. Look, I don't want to show you in the map. I want to go back to the last one, which was the... Oh, they're right here. The videos that I took of those up close. and got up, because this is up here in near Walden, right here, Rand. They're in Rand. So when you go to Rand and you follow this road, which is the 125, they're just south of Rand. You're going down, and there they are, right there. So the one I'm showing you here, and since it's the little man, will take us there very easily. I like the little man. I'm going to show you this big, huge one that I just started to show video of. Now, if we get away from it, it looks just like the devil's. It's funny how I missed it. That's it. It is enormous. I'm barely here when I stand right there. This is enormous. It's beautiful. The Apashepa Arch is so much smaller, but when we zoom in and we can get into the video and zoom into material, it's got very similar composites as the Apashepa Arch does. And that's that one. Here's the video. Let's take this one first. And I think I climb in there and get a shot of it. I had to figure out how to cross the small creek. Is this the last video? Okay, I'm done. I got to go to the other video. Here it is. Okay, so this is the... So that's not it either. I'm close up now. But as you can see, it starts to get darker as it is exposed to the elements. Okay, I'm going down right there. So this isn't it. Is it right in the middle? I guess it's this one. See, I also took some GoPro footage. This one was done. I got to get the GoPro footage. I'm pretty sure I zoom in right here. I'm waiting. I'm talking. All right. Well, you can trust me. Oh, here we are. Let's zoom in. Right. No zooms. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's very similar to the Apashepa Arch. And that's it. I'm going to get out of here. I talked a lot. I don't have any current questions up in the air. I might do a little bit more talking just because I've got 7 watching now. Thanks a lot for that. And I will start to do... I made a decision. I had a chat with people, and they told me, why don't you just do a half-hour video? Because I can't shut up. That's why. I've been talking for more than an hour now. And you actually stuck with me, so thank you for that. But let me get out of here. Some videos of the... Oh, wait, what's that? I want to be careful what I'm showing. Some videos of the trip. Let's get this one. That's pretty close. It's a shiprock. I did want to keep my promise, but I did lie, so I'm a lying promise keeper. Yeah, it's so big. It's so gigantic. Thank you so much, Ziggy. Oh, I got to give you my phone number just in case that happens again. I can't believe I just kept talking and talking and had no because I wasn't looking at the comments. Didn't see your comment about that. Yeah, this is a great place. I think I do want to go back there and hang out. I had hair on top of my head right there. I've shaved it since, as you can tell. I get sick of that little, but I'm not getting the plugs, that's for sure. No need for that. We can get into those things later. I think I'm going to do another video that's unrelated to the topics soon. Thank you for joining. I do have this for you. Before I show it, I got to do this. Okay, let's try it. Let's give it a try. Are you ready? You're going to love it.